It's a very famous mantra she's singing. It means basically that this is perfect, that is perfect. From the perfect springs the perfect. Take the perfect from the perfect, and only the perfect remains. That's what it means, and it's about the absolute. It's an expression of the absolute. Because this is perfect, that is perfect. Purnam. Purnam is also a Sanskrit word we don't have a translation for. So we translate it with perfect, but it's not perfect in the ordinary sense of the mind, that it is perfect relatively to imperfect. You understand? It's an absolute understanding that it is perfect. It cannot be, it is beyond any discussions about different or being better or more or less or all this. So it's a word for the absolute. So this is perfect, that is perfect. It means that everything is the absolute essentially. Whatever we experience is essentially that. Purnam, perfect. It appears as something else. That is another matter. The perfect appears as the millions of things. And all the discussions about these million things are also the perfect. Mind you. And then we sing, from the perfect springs the perfect. That everything arises from there. And take the perfect from the perfect, and all the perfect remains. That you cannot take anything away from it. The moment you take anything away from it, that which is taken away is the same as that which takes it away. Like it's like it can change its colors and its forms, but you cannot take anything away from it. So take the perfect from the perfect, only the perfect remains. It's a beautiful mantra, and it's about the absolute. And it's trying to point directly to who you are. You are that absolute. And this morning I talk a little bit about Advaita, that's why I play this mantra. In Advaita, this absolute is called Brahman. Brahman, with N in the end. Brahman. This is the absolute. This is Purnam. It's another word for Purnam. Everything is Brahman. Aham Brahmasi. That is this famous expression when you come into your clarity. I am Brahman. Aham Brahmasi. I am that reality, that absolute. It's called Brahman. We don't have anything equivalent in the West to that, because we could call Brahman maybe the God, but it's not at all the same. Because in the Judaism tradition, Mohammedan, Islam and Christianity, the absolute or the creator or the God is separated from his creation. And it's a man, it's a male. It's a totally different understanding, because in the Eastern understanding of Brahman, Brahman is not separated from his creation. He is the creation. There's no separation. There's not two. There's no dualism. And there's also no evil relative to the good. Like we have the devil, and that we don't know what to do with. So the absolute, we cannot really find an equivalent in the West, in our understanding for it. In Buddhism, Brahman is the mind. As you hear Wang Po talking about the Buddha is the mind is the Buddha, you hear them talk about that realize yourself nature, which is the pure mind. Tibetan Buddhism talk about the natural mind. Rigpa, they also call it Rigpa, the natural mind. And every spiritual path is about pointing directly to this mind. You must realize this mind. That's all what it is about. Directly understand what I'm saying. I'm pointing at it. You are that essential nature. Whether we call it Brahman, we call it the mind, we call it your self-nature, we call it your natural state, we call it the natural mind, we call it the pure mind. So what is it? What is this pure mind? Again, in the West, we have no equivalent to what the mind is. Because for the West, when we use the word mind, we think about something sitting up here in the brain that has, it's a faculty, of a psychological faculty. This is what we understand with the mind in our traditional, and none of these people know who they are. No, none of these psychologists and psychiatrists or philosophers that we have. They don't know what the mind is. It's some kind of psychological faculty that we perceive and think and feel with. And it's in the body. But in a much deeper sense of what the Buddhists understand with the mind, then the body is in the mind. Everything is in the mind, because everything is the mind. Part of that everything we have made private and call it me. That is the ego mind. The mind that is related to a separated entity called me. And then we start coming closer to the Western understanding. Because the Western understanding cannot talk about the mind separated from the ego, from the personality. It's related to the personality. But not in Buddhism. Then the mind is the totality. Wherever you look is the mind. And in Hinduism, wherever you look is Brahman. And Brahman is the totality, the mind is the totality of all there is. And whenever anybody awakened, they realize that they are this mind. They are the pure mind. They realize that they are Brahman. So that's why we say in Advaita that Atman is really Brahman. Because the sense of me, seen rightly, the pure sense of me as existing, seen rightly, is the Absolute. So just a little talk about these words, because in the Western tradition we had to drop our words because they cannot at all understand this depth that comes from the East. We are so superficial, and our whole culture is so extrovert. It leaves just a little space for something called the mind, that is some private little box. But it is because we have no understanding of the depth of mankind. Not at all.